Knucklehead podcast, a show for us all. The Knuckleheads unite, big ideas stand tall. Real estate and life with a whimsical twist. Once you tune in, it's a show you won't resist.
All right, Alesia, welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming on. How are you doing today?
Very well. Thank you, Nathan. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so this is our first time talking face to face. What part of town are you from?
I'm in Flower Mound, Texas, North Texas, near the DFW airport.
Amazing, amazing, cool. I'm from San Diego. So just to give a little backstory for everybody, we're both in the Sub-2 community, creative finance with Pace Morby, right?
hmm
The paid mentorship. And you just joined not too long ago. When was that?
March 20.
March 21st. Okay, so wow, we're already in May. Time flies. And what made you want to join? And what have you done so far in life before this? Have you been working a 9 to 5 job, or were you in real estate
I've been
before
married
this?
37 years and
Congrats.
worked entrepreneurial my whole life. Various things. I owned my first sports bar at the age of 23, and then we did financial advising for 20 years and climbed the corporate ladder through the fish bowls, and then went into corporate leadership and dropped the clientele, and then left as field vice president and went back into the private sector and got a whole bunch of clients. And I'm not doing that anymore. So I wanted to figure out something I wanted to do. And I spent 2 days running. Well, I picked real estate, first of all, with intention. I wanted a really stable product, and I didn't want to do like a bag or a box or an MLM or whatever. So I picked real estate. Then I had to figure out how to get into real estate. So I went online. I found Dominique Gunderson. She started in real estate at 17, and she does the burr and she does the fix and flip, and she just runs around. And I said, "Do you teach people how to do this?" And she said, "Go over to the bigger pockets." So I went over to the bigger pockets, but it just wasn't for me. And then I found Grant Cardone. And then some of his reviews said, "I'm running over to Pace Morby." And I said, "Well, what's that?" And I went over to Pace Morby and I found videos on YouTube. I started watching all the videos, and I found the one where he lost everything and his partner went bankrupt, and he bought his baby on a credit card. But he didn't tell his wife. And it was the fact that he didn't tell her and he didn't stress her out. And he just said, "We're going to do this." And she said, "Okay." And he sold his house and everything. And I went, "Oh, I like that. I can do that." So I called. I spoke with Colin, I believe is his name. And I said, "Let me think about this. I'll let you know tomorrow." And I got up at 5 a.m. and I sent him a text. And I said, "I tell you what, let me be your first smile of the day." So I waited, and about 8 o'clock, I still hadn't heard from him. I texted him again. He called me from the gym, and I've been running ever since.
Wow, amazing. So I think there's a lot of things that stand out there, but you're owning your own sports bar at age 20 something,
23.
23, yeah, how did that happen? Like
It's actually
what
a
made
very
that?
sad story. When we got married, my husband wanted to be a lawyer, and he wanted to own a sports bar. So I was going to do the law school thing, and we were going to do all that. And what ended up happening was his father passed away rather unexpectedly, and a financial advisor helped his mom. And with the inheritance from that, we got the sports bar in partnership, and I traded my house for it. So I gave my
Hmm,
house to his sister so that she wouldn't feel like because it was a partnership with my husband and his mother. And so we had a sports bar at the age of 23, and we moved in with his mother because she was traumatized. That was very difficult. And we had it for about 13 years, I believe.
right. What happened? Did you end up selling it, or did it close down, or?
What happened was the city got tired of having people running up and down the
Oh,
road.
okay.
And so they started parking next door and parking next door and they picked on us a little bit. And we had cameras and everything, so it didn't hurt us as far as like legally, but the customers didn't like it very much. It made for some tough times. They
Right.
got tired of getting pulled over every time they pulled out of the parking lot just in case. So that'll run you out of business.
Okay.
We
Yeah. Um,
But
well,
we were the
kudos to you.
biggest seller of Bud and Coors on the strip for 13 years until they decided We were selling too much beer.
Yeah. Well, I bet you learned a lot from that. Like, was there any takeaways from owning a place like that or your encounters with the city?
You get a sixth sense about things. You get to where you can tell when two people walk in what their jam is, and you can tell when people are going to find each other, which is kind of cool. You just get a sixth sense about people in
Mhm.
general. We worked every position. I ran a kitchen, worked the bar, did the floor, because if you fired somebody, you had to do their job until you replaced them.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of how we ran it. And business, just business, cash flow. That was my introduction to cash flow, you know?
Yeah. Would you ever buy one again, or would you ever buy a business again?
Absolutely not. We did do
No.
it again in 2018 and I ran. I said I don't want anything to do with it. I did all the accounting, all the books and stuff, but it was for his sister. We got one for his sister. I didn't want anything to do with that.
How about your financial background? I mean, that's got to be helpful in any entrepreneurial lane that you go into, knowing finances. What got you into that? It kind of seems like a little bit of a 180 from the sports bar
I
field.
had babies.
Oh, okay.
And I went and stayed home with my little girls. I had three little girls in diapers at one point, and I wanted to contribute in the home. So I put a big desk right in the middle of the downstairs family room, and I had little babies running around in diapers. And I'd pack them up once a week, and I'd go pick up and drop off the books. And then I'd come home and sit at my desk with the babies running around, and I'd do accounting. I've been using QuickBooks and 6.0,
Mhm.
and I've done all the accounting for our own businesses. And I did accounting. Let's see. I walked a power plant with a hard hat and heels and went into the boiler room and all that stuff to job cost it. I've job costed for carpet companies and refractory and pumping systems and a car lot in the bars. And it just, I did a whole bunch of accounting just to get through, you know, having little kids. I've just worn whatever hat I had to wear.
Yeah. Does that,
Never
has
got
that,
paid. This is the first time I'm going to get paid. I'm
oh,
so
wow.
excited. The check's never been in my name. I mean, when I was young, I didn't know how to value my time either. You know, I
Right,
didn't
right,
charge appropriately. That was my fault. But in general, I've never gotten paid. I'm very excited about that.
right. Yeah, that'll motivate you too. Is there like a why or a how that's got you into to keep pushing forward, to get into bounce from one field to the next, and now you're in real estate? Is there like a deeper
I
meaning?
get to do whatever I want to do. And if I'm going to do it, I want to do it right. I joined the very next day. I went to a fix and flip. Candace Whitteman, she was flipping a property and she taught me about fix and flip and how to track repairs. And she has outstanding systems. And then I went to Squat Up with Magic Ticket, which was really super cool. And
Wow.
I stayed with Sub 2 Drew by accident. I
Oh,
wanted to
cool.
be near the people. So Carolyn Bowe put a room up for somebody could take her room. And I said, yes, please, immediately. And I took that room and then went to Squat Up and I ran around telling everybody Pace Morby is Bodie and I am the police officer. What was his name? From Point Break.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's a
And I
classic.
said, we're running around robbing the banks, riding the waves, and I'm looking for the group within the group within the group. And it worked like a charm. They would just point, and I would go and talk to the person that they were pointing to. And then when it was lunchtime, because I was pretty much by myself, just running around meeting people, I'd go to the biggest table full of people with the empty seat. And I'd go up and say hi and sit down and meet people. I think that Squat Up was really a big deal for me because I got to meet so many really cool human beings from every walk of life. And then I went down, head down in the vault, and I did my Morby method and safety and underwriting and cheat codes. And I came up in time for No One Left Behind. Got up, ran into No One Left Behind, joined a wonderful team. And then our team joined a bunch of other teams. And so now we have about 40 people that we're playing catch with, trying, you know, not to lose them because they
40
wander
leads.
around.
Like 40 leads you have with the No One Left
No,
Behind
40
challenge?
No One Left Behind for Texas. And that was, now we're adding the new people from the May No One Left Behind. That was April for Texas. Now we
Okay.
have May for Texas coming in. So it's kind of cool. We're building our systems and our workflow is beginning to be more stable as far as office hours and underwriting and TC work and just workflow, getting on the phone. And, now we have some senior, no one left behind that help the junior, no one left behind, make their phone calls. I'm focused on capital raising. I was just onboarded this morning with a lady who brought me in to do operations for her. She wanted me to play operator, and then she said, I'm telling you, this is the craziest place I've ever been. Sub 2 is just the craziest place I've ever been. Every single person, every single thing that I say, I think I need a whatever, they're like, catch, and they just throw it at me, whatever it is. And I'm running the corridor between sub 2 and Gator and top tier TC because our sub 2 group is only sub 2 unless they've joined something else as well. But if you're in sub 2, you get added to that group. But there are other places you can play. And I've been getting thrown into all these other groups. And I found the underground office hours. So I go play with a lot of the people that are not on the sub 2 calendar and learn. The top tier TC underground open office is amazing. I think I've been 3 times now, and every single time I go, they keep me out of trouble. They walk me through. I take a question to them, and they say, "Oh, you don't want to do that. You want to do this. You don't want to do that." And when they're not keeping me out of trouble, Sub 2 Drew is. I go to his Thursday accountability, and then Gabriel's amazing. He's our coach, and so I feel like a toddler. Have you ever seen a toddler running around the house and the adults bend over and they kind of just turn them a little bit and say, go that way? That's me.
Yeah,
My
a little bit
shiny
directional.
objects are a Christmas tree.
Have you been like that in every field that you've been in, or is this brand new just because of how unique Sub 2 is?
I think that this aspect of it, so I made calls direct to seller and I checked the box, and then I made calls to agents and I checked the box, and I'm trying to find the skill sets where I need to learn and develop so that, because to be well-rounded, you really do need well-rounded skills. There's a lot of the language I'm still learning. They were talking, what was it they were doing today in underwriting? It was a special kind of rap. I can't even remember the name. And I was like, what is that? What version of a rap is that? And I'm constantly being like, I'm doing the lending now, right? I know amortization schedules. I understand them very well. But then I learn you got to be careful about the interest and what you bring to the table. And there's all the laws by state and usury and be careful here and be careful there. So I'm constantly accidentally coming real close to a line I don't know I'm crossing, and somebody says, nope, turn around and go that way. So I do. I feel very safe. I feel very well taken care of. I've just been surrounded by incredible people that are very helpful and kind.
Yeah. So what's your schedule look like? Are you like on Zooms all day long, or do you have like a certain time of day that you like to wake up and until you just run out of energy and hit the pillow?
I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram all day long is where I'm at for the most part. Even when I'm in the Zooms, it's just come alive for me. I've either got Messenger has turned into a squirrel portal, and people just keep popping out of Messenger and messaging me, and then I message them, and then they message me, and all these groups. I would have never expected to be going through what I'm going through with social media, but it's like a big tech and WhatsApp, and we do business on WhatsApp all the time. And I got Go High Level, and my bots are drunk. They're terribly drunk. They are texting people and messaging people all the wrong stuff all the time. And so I've had to start apologizing up front. I'm like, the bots are drunk.
Yeah.
So I have support tickets in for that. I've
How is
never
LinkedIn?
seen.
I said, how is LinkedIn? I just want to, like, because I know some people are using it, and I myself am curious. Like, do you get on that much, or is it
Oh,
mostly just
yes,
Facebook?
absolutely. I made enough friends yesterday that LinkedIn said that's all you get for the week.
Wow.
So, yes, I'm incredibly intentional. I'm finding private money lenders, and, there's that vetting thing. That vetting thing is no joke. And I've been doing a lot of vetting on me. I mean, people are vetting the dickens out of me. And then I turn around and I'm like, well, I don't know you. Who have you lent to? Because it's my understanding until you're vetted, you're a stranger. I mean, like stranger danger,
Yeah.
And then I'm meeting people in Sub 2, they want me to find financial advisors and CPAs for them. I had 2 appointments this week with them saying, can you introduce me? And I said, well, yeah, I know these people. They want to buy their practices. That was unexpected being in the real estate industry. But yeah, I have people that want to purchase the practices of CPAs. And look at this. You want to see something really cool? You want to borrow some money? What do you want to borrow? Tell me what you want to borrow. We're going to make a phone call.
$1 billion.
$1 billion?
Yeah, why not?
Might be pushing the limits. Make it
Okay,
happen.
to do $1 million.
But this is the company that I'm representing right now. I became a broker this morning
Wow.
and under somebody else's
Hello, I am
license.
AI broker. I am here to help you for apply your loan.
Hi, I would like to borrow some money. Mickey Mouse?
You?
Mickey Mouse at gmail.com. Yes, please. I would like to buy a house.
Would you like me to provide a quote for the loan?
Absolutely. We're purchasing.
Could you share the property address, city, and zip code?
123 Main Street, Disney, Florida.
City and zip code.
12345. $100,000.
Thanks for sharing that. Are there any Section 8 leases for this property?
No. $2 million. She just keeps asking questions. You keep it. But isn't that the coolest thing? It's in beta. I got a new toy today.
Nice, great. Would you get that through a TC person or someone in Sub 2, or is that? Have you
No,
used
it's
that
with
before?
I think it's more of a startup for lending. It's the woman that I'm helping with her lending, and she brought me on as her operations manager and wants me to help her find some people that can be brokers, and she wants to bring that to market, and we're just running with it. I don't
Wow,
know.
yeah.
I'm in the wave of sub two. Anything could happen.
Yeah. Are you trying to find something that, like trying to find your lane, like one thing to stick to it, or are you comfortable just doing everything for now and seeing what happens?
Primarily, I'm working on the lending. I'm learning the different lending, where to lend, who to work with. The rates are different with everybody. I'm learning to filter for, it's like a lend box. You have a buy box, they have a lend box. I lend to these people with this term, and some people are really short-term lenders, and some people are really long-term lenders, and some people have very high interest rates, and they'll take a little more risk, and some people don't want to have the risk, and they'll lend at a lower interest rate. And so I'm focused on the lending. I do have a piece of land, though. I do try to make my calls to sellers. I want the skill set, and it doesn't take that long to make a few calls every day. But I do have a piece of land that's on the Colorado River, and it's in Texas, and it is deeply, deeply discounted, and it's 10 acres, and it has a wonderful view, and it's in between a whole bunch of big cities, but it's not in the big city. It's about an hour out. And we need to help her because she's going to get foreclosed on with a balloon on June 1st. So,
Oh,
and her
interesting.
buyer is going to be somebody who just wants to build like a vacation home or a retirement home on the Colorado River in Texas.
Right. Okay. So yeah, how did you come across that deal?
Facebook. Facebook is amazing. I copied and pasted.
Yeah. Um, that you mentioned copy and paste before we began recording. That's kind of one of your mantras you go by. You know, it sounds like you know someone that's doing something that works, and you're not there to argue or to change it up or reinvent the wheel. Like you are
Absolutely
copying and
not.
pasting.
I do not want to create anything from scratch. I do whatever Pace says, with whoever Pace says, whenever. I just listen and I go, oh, okay, and I go do that. I just do it exactly whatever system I'm told to use. I've done the recreate the wheel thing before in other areas, and it's more work than you need to do. It was funny. I met with Brian Madsen, amazing human being, absolutely amazing human being. And he's doing multifamily down in Houston, and he's helping veterans, and he's helping people who are aging out of the foster care system, right? And his story was so amazing. And I just told him, I said, when are you coming up here, you know, to the DFW area? And he goes, I don't know. And I said, well, maybe I'll do that up here. And he goes, well, how would you do it? I said, I'd do it exactly like you're doing it. Why would I change anything? You're doing wonderfully well. And he said that was the way it ought to be. So,
Right. Are there any other like mantras you go by, or any other ethics that you follow in this journey that you're doing right now?
well, Jesus is King. And tonight at 7 o'clock, I'll go to Bible study with Matt Starr. All are invited. I
Wow.
invite everybody. So I do follow that mantra.
Where do you find the link for that? Is it
You
virtual
go
Bible study,
message
right?
Matt, and then he gives you a link, and he'll post it, I'm sure. and it takes you to a website, and then you put your contact information in, and you get a email that gives
Oh,
you
wow.
the link.
Is it like topical on like real estate or money or anything, or is it just
It's
straight up Bible
scripture.
study?
It's
Yeah.
scripture based, which is really the only kind of I'm not a big fan of people who just talk about things. I am very much into scripture, and
Right.
he's good at it. He's surprisingly very well spoken. He told me he was going to tell me a story, but he hasn't done it yet. Haven't had an
Okay.
opportunity.
So you look at Matthew Star, STAR on Facebook.
STAR. It's a really long last name. No.
While
Oh
you're
no.
doing that too, besides the copy and paste method, you just seem like you're very extroverted and you're very go 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 type A personality. That's just my interpretation. But how would you describe yourself?
I'm
Just be
finding
interesting to hear.
myself again. Finding my voice.
Kind of
I,
resetting,
huh?
kind of resetting, restarting.
hmm
Yeah.
Very much so.
I said with that, have you found a lot of it sounded like you found a lot of community within Sub 2, a lot of help and finding your voice too.
Oh yeah, I'm highly encouraged to just be whatever I can come up with. And because I've been in a situation where I just did whatever had to be done, the visionary was directing traffic. I'm not quite sure what I want to do or be or whatever, so I'm figuring it out. The private money lending just seems to be suited to my background, and I run around Sub 2, and people, they just pour knowledge. And if you just sit and listen, they pour knowledge. Whatever you want to learn, if you ask people, and the biggest recommendation I can make, you were asking me about my mantras, is if you know very clearly what you want, Sub 2 will throw it at you. You'll just have it. It's the not knowing, the not being clear, the being vague, the being quiet. That's the only reason that you wouldn't be successful. So if you run around sharing what you need and caring, being a servant, and helping others more than you ask, I can't. I've tried. I've tried to give more than I get, and it's almost impossible. There's too many of them. But I do my best. I took notes when I was, taking my classes. I threw them in the middle of Sub 2. I share them with everybody. I'm like, don't spend the time I spent, with your head down in the vault. I had zero, absolutely zero real estate. I joined the owners club, and they were like, no, you're a week old. You may not do this. Maybe next year.
That's funny. How far did you get in that process? Did they take your money or did they
They
come
took
back
my
at you a
money,
week
and
later?
I got lunch, and then they called and they said, this isn't going to work. And I don't know if it's as much because I was new or if it's because I just don't, this vetting being proven. And then I see how well the owners club is elevated and held accountable. And I really wasn't qualified for either one of those. It was inappropriate for me to join. And I joined, I keep doing things on accident. I went into the restroom to find my lanyard because it fell off. And I told a lady, I said, I can't find my lanyard. And we checked the lost and found and everything. And I said, well, maybe I just need to get an upgrade. And I said, unfortunately, Pace said, if you're 2 days old, you can't do it. And she goes, tell me about your background. And we started talking, and she said, yeah. Come on over here, sign here. And we did it. And then they went, no, we're going to give you the money back. No.
Yeah,
And it was a
that's
good
funny.
call. It was the appropriate decision.
Well,
I
that's
didn't
funny, but
qualify.
it says a lot about you that you were willing to just go all in, all in. Like you're brand new to Sub 2, you went to Squad Up Summit, which is, for anyone that, I don't think anyone outside of Sub 2 listens to this, but that's like the new annual like family reunion where everyone gets together as a huge event, and it's just speaker upon speaker, and everyone's connecting and adding value. I think owners clubs above Sub 2, where it's just like the top tier of Sub 2, join that, and
It was the best
take
room I could figure out to get in.
yeah, and you like a magnet went to that room immediately, even though it wasn't appropriate at this point.
Cut
Uh,
every other thing. I was like, I will not be distracted. I will not. I was intentionally not going to do the shiny object thing. And then I got into Sub 2 and went, it's nothing but shiny objects. They're everywhere. They're
yeah,
everywhere.
there's so many paths that you could take, but I can definitely see you in a couple years or 1 year, like getting into the owners club and having that experience because a lot of people they'll be in it for a while, but you've had more experience than a lot of people in Sub 2 because you've just been nonstop, like going, and that's why I wanted to talk to you because it's rare to find someone that's as ambitious as at least you seem to be online, right? You've been like every time I open up my Facebook, you're like talking to someone. You have a bunch of people commenting on your post, or you're on the comments. So you've been go go go, and that's cool. And I just wanted to ask you, where do you see yourself in a year from now or 5 years from now? Like, where do you think you'll be?
Helping a lot of people. I got two hands. I got one reaching forward and one reaching back. And I just think that I'm going to be pulled forward and I'm going to be pulling the people behind me. And I just want to pull as many people as I can. I just want to drag them forward. When I joined, I was lost at 16,000 people and I didn't know anybody, and it didn't matter. They were like, "Hi, who are you?" And even on the very first day, Candace and Leo, I believe is her husband. I don't speak with him as much, but they asked everybody not to drive because we were walking a fix and flip in the middle of a neighborhood, and she was expecting a lot of people. There would be nowhere to park. So I took an Uber and went downtown to wherever it was we went. Well, they live right around the corner from me, and they were telling me that, and I said, "Well, can I pick your brain?" Because, picking people up from the airport and picking their brain, or getting a ride in the car and picking their brain, and I'm doing nothing but picking people's brains. And so they brought me home, and they were tired too, and they were so sweet, and they just poured into me some more.
What are you most needing right now? What is your
Right
biggest
now, what I need is
task?
lenders. I need lenders that can lend on a creative. It's usually 30, 40,000 on I would say fix and flip, but it doesn't have to be. It's fix and repair type of, where you put the money down and then you do the work and then you sell the property to the foreclosure type. I need a bunch of different people that will loan at reasonable rates for long-term buy and hold too, for rentals, that will loan on rentals and cash flowing properties so that the people in subject to can keep what they buy, borrow it from somebody, pay their interest, and make their rents while they grow their equity. The other
Right.
thing I need is high quality, big deals, really large multifamily, experienced people that need to borrow money. The bigger deals that are looking for lending.
Right. Like the fix and flips ones are usually around like 6 months ish. Does that sound about right? Like the
I'm
30,
so
40.
new. I just look at people and say, "What am I asking for?" I'll
Yeah.
go fetch. Literally. I say,
Right.
"Write it down, tell me exactly what to say." And then I say it back and I say, am I missing anything? Did I say it properly? And they go, "No, you got it right." And I said, "Okay, I'll be back later. I'm going to go fetch." And then I go out
Yeah.
and I play in the social media. And Facebook is like, it's a little more formal. There's a few more rules. And then I run over and I play on Instagram a little bit. And it's like being at a disco. It's just a whole different environment. And then I
Yeah.
go and put a suit on and run over to LinkedIn. And, it's a little bit of a different conversation, but it's fun. And I
Yeah.
can do it all from just sitting right here, get on the phone, get on the Zoom quite a bit. It's fun. I enjoy it. What about you? Are you going to tell me anything about you, or is this all about me?
I mean, it's an interview with you, but yeah, I
Oh,
hear what you're saying too. I'm not on LinkedIn, so that I'm learning something from you. This was a secret conversation. I just wanted to get to know you a little bit, and then it's an excuse to have a podcast. I get to, put this out and, uh, you know, have some stuff to share on social media. But the main thing was just to learn a little bit about you too. Talk after the call too. I know the Bible study's coming up on Matthew Starr's Bible study's coming up, but we're in the same group, so it's like you said, anytime you want, there's someone available to talk, and we can
mm-hmm.
always talk more. And I'm hoping one day, maybe a year from now, like you'll have your own podcast and I'll be a guest.
Jamie White told me I already have to have one. He told me to record myself every day. I was actually very nervous about coming on your little podcast, and I
Yeah.
didn't want to do it. And that's why I said yes, to push myself to get out of my comfort zone. It's one thing it's a Zoom. I'm in Zooms all the time, but they don't go up on YouTube. I tried to record myself once. He told me, "You need to be recording yourself every day. You need to be tracking your journey." So I went to do it, and then I went to save it in a secret folder. There was no sound. I didn't do it right.
Okay.
But
Well, this is great because it's a good little starter podcast. You'll have this, for whenever you need it too. I'll send you the recording, and you
thank
can
you.
use it. You, when you're, a billionaire and you're a leader and stuff too, and people are coming to you for all the answers, you can show them this podcast and be like, "Hey, this is where I was. Like, this is what you should do. This is how I did it. Here's the playbook. Copy and paste, and rock and
I
roll."
do that. I have a one-page document. I share it with people all the time, and I try to keep the systems as simple as possible, and it's all my notes. And it's just a Google Doc tied to a Google Doc tied. The easiest, most simple thing, other than the go high level where my bots really are not doing their job properly. But keep it
Yeah.
simple, do what everybody else does, that, whatever Pace says. And that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, that's amazing, Alesia. I
And
really
I had my
appreciate you
first
coming on.
deal.
What was that?
It was the most amazing thing. I had my first deal
Oh, when? When was that?
yesterday. I think it was yesterday, the day before maybe. And we're still working through the paperwork, but I go into a meeting in the morning and I get introduced to a guy that wants CPAs and financial advisors. And he was wondering who I could introduce him to. And then I get out of that meeting and I go into a meeting with a couple of women, very experienced at the fix and flip, and they don't have any money to get the next house. She's got 5 going right now. It's Araceli. She's good at what she does, and I've seen the houses. And I said, well, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to help you, but be real clear, because like I said, I'll go find it for you. So then my next appointment was with a private money lender. She comes in and she says, you want to be the operator? And I'm like, I do not think I do. I've never had anybody tell me I would make a good operator. I've had a lot of people tell me I would be a good integrator. I'm still learning the avatars.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never had the opportunity to even explore being a visionary. This woman, she's a visionary. She's got 4 languages and quiet. She just wants her peace. All she wants is her peace, and she wants everything to run properly, and she is very visionary. And I said no, but I wanted to play with her and do the private money lending and stuff. So I said, can I invite these women to come back in here since that's what you do and that's what they need? And they just left. And she says, okay. And so they came back in and she loaned them $100,000 on a house that they haven't even picked out yet. Just
Wow.
because of the meeting, and we're still doing the paperwork. She doesn't quite know how to do paperwork, and I needed to be onboarded, and we had to do all the things. It's everybody trusts everybody and everybody wants to do business. And that's been super. And it happened in I've been in since March 1st, and this happened in about an hour and a half, and it was done. 2 hours, 2 back-to-back Zooms.
That's got to feel good because you connect 2 people that really needed something.
It's my favorite thing. I listen, I clarify, just be real clear. And then I go fetch. And I just listen to what everybody needs. I don't really think I'm a connector, but I am connecting, and I'm having so much fun. Maybe I'm a connector. But right now I'm playing operator. So building
Right.
systems, building a lending team, and playing with this new bot. That is the coolest thing ever. Have you seen the Pace GPT?
I haven't got on it yet, but I've heard people using it.
Do you want to see Pace GPT?
Yeah, let's do it.
What do we want to ask him?
I don't know how to be an effective capital raiser.
Hey, it's Pace Morby's Digital Mind. How can I help?
Hey, how do I become an effective capital raiser?
Right? If that's the case, it all comes down to building trust and relationships. Raising private capital isn't about pitching deals. It's about showing people you're someone they can rely on to protect and grow their money. You've got to start by sharing your story, your vision, and your track record, even if that track record is just your work ethic or your ability to solve problems. For example, when I started, I didn't have my own money for deals. I raised private capital by showing people how I structured deals to create win-win situations. I'd explain how their money would be secured, what kind of returns they could expect, and how I'd handle any risks. It's all about transparency and making them feel confident that their money is in good hands. Does that help clarify? Or were you asking about something else?
Absolutely. Wow. That sounds just like what Pace would say, like verbatim.
He does. I've gone down the path of mentorship because they want you to give them some feedback. So I test him out and I try different things. And I've done mindset coaching, and he takes me down a mindset funnel, and then he forgets where he's at. So
Right.
I reply and I tell him, because they're teaching him. He's
Yeah.
a beta pace. But he's a good beta pace. If you asked him anything regarding process, tracks, procedure, workflow, he's very good at that. He tells stories. He has all of Pace's stories.
Yeah.
Well, probably not all of them, but a lot of them. So I can say, give me, because you want to have that third party story, your 4 pillars, your third party story, and who's on deed, right? That's your
Yeah.
thing. So if I'm calling on something that maybe I don't have a story for, I'll ask Pace. He'll give me a story too.
That's amazing. It's probably another reason why to just keep recording yourself, because then you could put all the thousands of hours that Pace has, like he does, on and just put it into one bot, and then that bot basically knows him and becomes him, so that you don't have to answer all the questions, or Pace doesn't have to answer all the questions. You can just refer to that.
There's bots everywhere.
Yeah, it's kind of
There's
scary.
so
It's
few
kind of fun.
bots.
It's kind of exciting.
It is fun and exciting. I've got note takers that I don't even know where they came from. There's Loom and there's Tactic and there's Fireflies. And I'll get into a Zoom and I'll have notes everywhere. And I'll be like, well, do you mind if I take notes? My apologies. Not quite sure where they came from. Don't know how to turn them off. But we have, and they end up in my inbox.
Yeah,
Because, like, right now, you and I are talking, and I'm not taking notes. I'm just focused on you paying attention. And probably,
yeah.
I would normally, but in sub two, I forget half the time to take a note. And I just don't.
Yeah, 100%. Well, the cool thing about having something recorded, you just always put it into ChatGPT or something, and it'll take the notes for you after the fact, so you don't even have to do it while you're on the call.
You can put this video, when you're done, you can put it into the chat GPT and
Yeah,
it will.
yeah, you can. Yeah, I'll transcribe it for you. It'll take notes for you. The program that we're using right now, Riverside, I learned from Adam Colburn, who's in Sub 2, because it does a lot of the workflows for you using AI. So it does that on my end, but it also, you just take any YouTube video and throw it into ChatGPT and it'll video summarize it for you. So new
You can
power
take
unlocked.
any video and put it in chat GPT and it will give you the transcript.
Yeah, it'll summarize it for you. I use the paid version, so it's like a separate little GPT. You
Oh,
can
now I
select which ones you
know.
want and download it. And there's a bunch of them called video summarizers, and so you could just go summarize it. And then
Wow.
I've connected with other connectors that use apps like Otter app or whatever, and it records or it takes in recordings and it summarizes it like audio recordings, and then you can ask it and ask questions about what you learned, like what did this person say again, or can you summarize that, or was this what they said
That's right,
consistent
you're
with.
a connector. How do you keep up with your information?
Man, I'm not the best
How
at
do you
it, but
not lose people?
I'm
Huh?
not the best at it. I use Google Sheets. I know a lot of people are. I'm getting to the point where I need a CRM to do it, but I think it's really important as a connector, as I've heard from other connectors. Use your personal phone number. Don't put people in a CRM and like blast a bunch of messages at them. And use your personal number. I think Airtable is a good CRM for connectors. I believe it's a free one. You put all your notes. Just use Google Sheets, like I said. You copy and paste all your notes and put it in a cell. And then I have cells like for name, date of birth, not date of birth, like email, like where they live, what do they want or what do they need, and what do they have, right? One and need are kind of the same thing, but what do they have and what do they need? And then like if they're a lender, certain lending criteria, like what percentage, how much money they have or are willing to invest, and for how long, and just like a little cell for extra notes.
Okay.
That helps. It's not the most advanced, but at least Google Sheets, like I can use it on my computer, I can use it on my phone, I can always add to it and look up people. And keyword search is a really important thing, because once you get to enough people, you gotta have a keywords in there. Like, oh, I remember Alesia. I forget like what her last name was, but I'll just type in Alesia, or I'll type in that one girl I remember was from Texas and she mentioned private money lending, and just type in those words and it'll pop up. I won't forget you though. Don't worry.
Oh,
But
you.
yeah, but Alicia, I appreciate your time. It's getting to that point in an hour. Is there anything else that you wanted to say before we end it?
Well, I guess if you're going to put this out there, if you know anybody that's doing the capital raising full time, I'm looking for more people to help with the capital raising that want to use the little AI thing when it's done being whatever. I need, I believe, 5 people total to be brokers for the lending. So I
Okay.
am bringing on brokers, and then we're going to have a really good time playing. And I am still looking for the financial advisors and the CPAs in the middle of subject 2 with Pace Morby. How does that happen?
Yeah.
How does that happen? I just don't know, but that's what happened. And we're always looking for really good foreclosure properties, but I think everybody's looking on their own for that. Buyers, if you want to buy some stuff, we've got houses that the no one left behind. We brought a house in today, accepted the contract, which was really cool. Everybody's excited. Invite anybody who wants to go to Bible study. They're welcome to go.
All right. So I can go to the Bible study, but I can't go to the Saturday Women's Collaborative. I got it. Alicia, I appreciate it. I'll just redirect people to your Facebook too, but yeah, using your name. And I really appreciate your time and look forward to see where you're at in 6 months, a year from now. Maybe you'll lend me a bunch of money then.
Absolutely. Is there
All
anything that
right.
you need? No?
I mean, I can always talk to you offline too, but I'm in a I'm pretty good right now in as far as what I need, but we'll talk offline.
Okay, bye.
Yeah. All right. Take care.